So if you would like to describe your identity today.
Okay. Right. Did you want me to start from when I was younger, or just yes? Okay. So born here in the UK, around Hounslow, Isleworth area. Grew up quite traditionally. Me being the third daughter in the family, the youngest daughter. Nickname was called Baby. That's a very common name given to a young daughter in an Indian family. And had two younger brothers. And five of us played together. Didn't have any friends growing up. Went to school. Had to be back obviously on time. Didn't just understand it stuff from that point of view. But we had to go to all the Indian functions, weddings, parties, and I would probably say, if anything, I miss that now because we've lost a lot of contact with the family at the moment. And like now, we've got some cousins and that in the UK that we visit now and again, so maybe once or twice a year. We have parties that we go to. We have to dress up in the traditional way, but generally going to the temple and so on. I used to go for 30 years of my life, but that just stopped because I'd started to change my beliefs, really, to be honest. So yeah, I would say Sikhism, going to the temple, is quite a common thing for a lot of people that go. A lot of people probably that are born here wouldn't even understand what they're saying in the temple, like me. But generally, I would say, yeah, that still happens. My next door neighbours are Sikh; they go, you know. So it's strange. It's basically a different life for me now up in Milton Keynes than it was back in London way.
Okay, so is it because you moved from London to Milton Keynes that you don't no longer go to the temple?
I had a younger brother. He passed away, and my beliefs changed at that point, to be honest. And then, if anything, that was the turning time for me to realise that actually it's not about going to the temple. It's not about anything like that. If you have a belief in something, or you believe there is a God out there, I do believe there is a God out there, definitely. But I don't believe it needs to be a certain religion and believe in it. I've seen so many people that are so dedicated to going to the temple, family-wise as well, and they as a character, they're quite happy to take the mickey out of other people or put people down. But when they go to the temple, everyone thinks they're fantastic because they worship. They're like this and really look like they know their stuff and everything. And they're very clever, don't get me wrong. But I just think that's wrong because I think then all you're doing is something else on the other side when you come out of the temple. But when you're in the temple, you're actually looking like you're some sort of saint. And I don't believe in that. So that's it. I think really I've seen stuff like that. Youngsters, where it says probably in the temple you're not supposed to go out drinking and and eating meat, and then they're pretending to be the best sort of saints. Youngsters, this is. Then they'll go out clubbing and then they'll do drugs and everything, and you just think, it's a swage, Then you think, why are you doing that? So that's things like that really make me realise that actually it's not about that. It's about treating people right, enjoying life a little bit more.
How would you describe the relationship between children and the parents?
Well, my life started to change after Vinny's dad left, so I'll probably say before that it was more like the man's the head of the family. He gets the last say, so he was the one that would tell Vinny off if he wanted to tell him off. But in the old traditional way, just smacking. So there was a lot of that going on, and they wouldn't have this thing where if you went around his family's house, they would allow the kids to stay up till 3 in the morning, or even if they're tired, just say go and plant in the garden, or just didn't like the way that they were bringing up their kids. But yet at the same time they wanted them to obviously show the respect. So they have this thing in Sikhism that you obviously must respect the elders, and you must always believe that the elders know exactly what they're talking about. So really that's why you should worship them as such, really. And that's what the belief was. But to be honest, it's not true. I mean, even we know that. But basically, in the last sort of 4 or 5 years, I'd probably say that, touch wood, Vinny's confidence has gotten a lot better, where he's not been told what to do and ordered and smacked or anything like that. He makes his decisions and he uses his own mind a lot of the time. So it's in one way that's a good thing, in another way it's harder. So I'm different. I'm more obviously the modern way, where for example, my next door neighbour, they're different. Like she'll bring up her children in a different way, and they all speak Indian obviously and so on really, really well, and they go to all the Indian functions. They've got a lot of Indian family, so they've still got a lot of Indian tradition in their family, but we've all got a bit isolated because we haven't got a huge amount of people that we mix with. So I'd probably say definitely English has always been my first language anyway, but I would say my Indian language is very poor, and even Vinny doesn't know much of it. So my relationship with him in regards to Indian culture is minimal now. It's dropped and dropped and dropped. So no, there isn't a lot.
And how do children manifest disagreement with their parents at your home, for example?
Yeah.
How do they manifest it? How do they say no to you?
Oh, blatant no. No, I'm not doing that. Or just ignore me and and then I say, did you hear what I said? Pardon? I went, did you hear what I said? No. I went, okay, I'm making you sausages and egg this morning for breakfast. Oh, no, I want sausages and egg. Oh, sorry, I've already started making it. No, I want cereal. Okay then. Right, fine. But if I say to him, you know, you got to tidy your room, he'll just say, no, not now. And or if I say to him, Vinny, I want you to eat vegetables, you're going to eat your vegetables. No, are you? No, are you? That's what he answers me back. No, are you? No, are you? On everything. But generally that's it. And then, yeah, if I raise my voice, that's when Vinny starts to raise his voice. I've noticed that actually. So I try to keep as calm as I can.
And when you were young, how did you manifest disagreements?
Oh, I couldn't. I know. You just get hit a lot. So you don't disagree, you just do as you're told. There was nothing. No, you weren't allowed out, you weren't allowed to do anything. So, yeah, there wasn't anything you could say no to. If you did actually, like once me and my sister were having a fight in the bedroom, because we used to share bedrooms, and she was being really nasty, and so she went to pull my hair or something, and then my mum came in the room and I started crying. I must have been like 9 or 8 or something. And my mum came in, slapped me to get back to bed, and then my sister got away with whatever she got away with. And I always remember going, but no, I would say then, I would confront it and try and say, no, but it wasn't me. And then she just like, no, and then, you know, you get hit again and you just, oh, okay, fine, I'll go back to sleep, then I was going to get into trouble. So no, there wasn't really any dispute, but I would probably say I understand why my mum was stricter with me, because she had a lot of problems with my sisters, so, and my brothers, so I understand that. So yeah, I'll probably say that even though I was sort of very close with my mum, I did everything with her. In a sense, it was like anything you would probably do with a friend. If you want to go out and have a portion of chips or sit at the end of the road in a park, I would do that with my mum. Different relationship completely.
How does this relationship work with children-in-law?
Oh, just very formal, very, very formal. A bit like, hello, how are you in Indian? And, what have you been up to? Or, did you see this on TV? Very formal, just general chat, and then it would just die off. My mum was very quiet though. So, like, my mother-in-law was very communicative, she liked to talk non-stop, a lot. And she'd put you on people on the spot, that's what she liked to do. But my mum was very quiet and reserved, so probably very formal with my mum. And then she'd just sit on the side and let everybody else carry on talking, do what they want, sort of thing, yeah. So their relationship was just very formal.
I read about the Mehandi tradition, whereby the mothers-in-law paint the hands of the bride.
Oh, yes.
Is it still taking place?
It still takes place at weddings times. Sometimes people do it for parties. Funnily enough, it's mainly wedding times, and it's usually like the week before the wedding, all the ladies sort of gather, or maybe even 2 or 3 days before, which is probably more of the tradition. And then they basically get the henna out, Mendi, and then they just literally, all the girls put it on. But the bride is supposed to be, I think it is 3 days before, on her feet and on her hands, and sometimes it goes up her arm and then it's this side as well. So very pretty, but you usually get somebody coming in to do it. So somebody in the household would say, okay, I'm going to go book somebody for you, and they'll come round and they'll spend 5 hours doing your Mendi, and you just sit there and like that. You have to keep the Mendi on for about 12 hours. So going to the loo is very hard. But yeah, it looks gorgeous. But if it goes really, really dark, apparently it means that your mother-in-law loves you. If it doesn't go dark, that means she won't love you. That's rubbish. But that's what we were always told. Yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting. And it's no longer that the mother-in-law paints their hands. It can be done by someone totally not related to the family as well.
Definitely. I mean, I've never been to a wedding in India, so maybe it is happening there. But we've never known of that ourselves. I've never even heard of that, actually. That's interesting.
And you're from the Punjab region. I mean, your parents were.
Yeah.
The culture.
There was little villages, from there. Yeah, very poor. Yeah, very poor. They don't even have toilets. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean now they put one in, but it doesn't have a flush. So So it's very poor out there, the villages. But certain people of our relatives are okay. They live in the city, and if you're in the city, it's a bit more modern. Yeah, it's a bit better. But for my mum's side of the family, most of them are pretty poor.
And what's the age of maturity in Punjab? When do you think the child can make their own decision?
A lot of them don't know how to decide on things because they live with their parents and their parents tell them what they've got to do. If anything, if they don't want to do what their parents say, they just ignore them and don't even respond sometimes. They just go off and do what they want, or they'll just do as their parents say. There's no sort of use your own brain and do things right, treat people right. There's nothing like that there. They're not educated enough. I know that sounds really sad. And the truth is, I think it is down to education, being told this is how you're supposed to treat people. And if they don't have that in their head, because all they do is ever go to work, come home, the wife sits at home, waiting for the man to come home, so she's got to have the dinner ready, and that's it, that's their life. They go out to the field, milk the cows, or get the vegetables from the farms, that sort of thing, and then come back home. There's no communication, there's no like, hello, how was your day? It's not like that. It's just like, is the dinner ready yet? And then it's like, yeah. And then they serve them their dinner. When we went out there, obviously they all think, oh yeah, they're rich, they're coming, and they're going to give us lots of presents, and then they treat you like a bit like special. Go, you sit down, and we'll make you some breakfast, and then you sit down, we're going to make lunch now, and then you do get spoilt because it's lovely from that end, but you actually look at the relationship and the life that they're leading. It's quite sad. It's really like there's nothing to look forward to. There's no smiles, there's no smiling at each other, there's no laughter. Even the kids have long days at school, so they go 6 days a week, and then they leave at like 6:30 in the morning. They'll get home till about 7, and they have long days at school, and on Saturday as well. And then they have to go to bed by 9, or 8, 9 o'clock. So they don't have a life. They don't have go out there play with your friends. I mean, they do play. It's a little bit different like that. They do play with other kids, but only for a short time or on a Sunday. But they have to do a lot of housework as well, a little bit here and there. And most of their Sundays spent either going to the temple or doing homework. That's their life. They beg you, take our child back with you, take them back to England and give them a job, help them. That's all you get from there when you go there. Yeah.
So it's probably true that, as you said, if your parents always tell you what to do, what you should do, then you kind of no longer can be held responsible for your own actions. You always wait for someone to tell you that's wrong, that's right.
That's it. I mean, out of anger, some of them might do something without even asking, because they're angry and they've just done something in a rush. But I'll be honest, I think from what I've seen, a lot of them just feel like, I don't think many of them do what they feel like doing. And I think if they do what they think they're doing, they don't tell anyone, they just go off and do it. And then where here we would say, oh God, you could have told me you were going to go out and go to the shop or whatever, but they just go off. And you're like, where are they gone?
I see.
So it's very different, there's no communication. Yeah. It's very hard to see actually, because you feel sorry for the women there.
And these days, you were talking about smacking kids. How is it in Punjab these days? Do you know whether...
Oh yeah, they smack a lot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they have to, they will. They'll smack them. It's just normal there. Yeah, it's quite a normal thing.
How do people look at mixed marriages? Because I watched this documentary on YouTube, and a guy was saying he was Sikh, and he said that they really frown upon mixed marriages because they believe that the culture should be passed on to the next generation, and it's the only way to preserve the culture.
To be honest, I mean, my own, one of our cousins that lives in Hayes, Middlesex, they got three daughters. The oldest is married to a Sikh guy, and she lives the complete traditional way, but then she did get married sort of like 25 years ago. And then the middle sister's married to an English guy, he's a police officer, and she met him, and their parents, my uncle and auntie, have been absolutely fine about getting married to an English guy. And then the younger one is married to a Hindu guy. If anything, that was the one they really shook their head and went, oh, I'm not sure about you marrying a Hindu guy. But yet Sikhism came out of Hinduism. So sometimes you just don't understand. It just doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, she's not really happy with her husband. The only one that's really happy is the middle one that's married to an English guy, because she doesn't feel like she's got to please anyone. Where the eldest one, because she's married to a Sikh guy, has to please all the in-laws, all the people that come around their house, and she has to attend every because it's such a big family she's got of in-laws that she has to, every weekend she's got a function that she has to get dressed up for and go and please. I couldn't live like that anymore. I used to with my in-laws. I had a big family, but I used to pretend and go along, and they could treat you like rubbish, ignore you, whatever, but you just let them treat you like the way they did. Stuff that. Sorry.
And do you think this is even harder in a country where you basically live to work, not work to live? To maintain the culture and attend those functions, to still...
In India it is work to live. Here I would say it's a bit of a balance. Well, when I look at my cousins, it is more like, no, they do enjoy themselves too. So I think it's a good work-life balance most people have got now, yeah.
I read there is this tradition of keeping the surname, especially for my Singh. Is that right? Is it still?
Yeah, every man, a Sikh guy, has Singh in the middle. So like Vinny's supposed to have Singh. He's supposed to be Harvind Singh Archer. And every woman has Kaur in the middle. So every Indian girl has Kaur. Yeah, Kaur.
So is this tradition still maintained in the UK?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, on my passport I've got Kaur. Vinny's got Singh on his.
Thank you very much.
Oh, that's okay.
That's it, yeah?
Yeah? Oh,
Thank
okay.
you.
Okay.